Mr. Chaudhry, thank you very much for joining us on Moneycontrol. We are in conversation with Amitabh Chaudhry, the CEO of Axis Bank. Sir, I want to begin by asking you, the outlook for the global economy in 2023 is precarious, according to the World Economic Forum's latest survey of chief economists. At the same time, India has been described as a bright spot. How do you see 2023 evolving?
I think, as rightly pointed out by, the World Bank, IMF, and even as you talk about the World Economic Forum, the situation does look precarious. There are enough macro factors out there which are adding to the uncertainty. And given the fact that the G10 central banks have been on this path to control inflation, they have been obviously hiking interest rates at a very aggressive pace, and that is also impacting the growth in the world economy. Given all of that, yes, as you rightly pointed out, India is clearly a bright spot. I think our government and RBI has managed the whole COVID crisis extremely well. Inflation has gone outside the range which they're supposed to manage it in, but I mean, with the steps and the interest rate hikes they have done, you can see inflation coming down. We are at the I would say the end of the interest rate hike cycle, and some of the economists have now started predicting interest rate cuts also going forward in the next 12 to 18 months. So my view is India is a bright spot. Government has engaged with the world at large very extremely well, has created a lot of strategic partnerships. Global companies are realizing that India is the place where they should be investing more, and they need India to have a global supply chain strategy and make India an integral part of it. India is also attracting a lot of venture capital funds. Government is putting money through the PLSS schemes. So a lot of positives. Execution is the key. If we execute well, I think we'll get the benefit of that come through to us.
Right. In 2023, the RBI hopes to see the result of its aggressive rate actions reflecting in the inflation numbers by the first quarter of the year. The general expectation is that the central bank will go for another round of rate hikes soon before ending the rate hike cycle. What's your take on the inflation and rate hike trajectory?
So if you look at the latest numbers which are coming out, the inflation has started trending below 6%. Obviously, it has to be established and stay there. We are expecting another rate hike in maybe February of about 25 basis points, and we believe that should be the end of the interest rate hike cycle. Again, it's all speculation at this point in time. I think RBI and the people in the Monetary Policy Committee know what they are doing. I think they've done a great job. We all outside keep speculating as to what will happen, but at least that's what our expectation is.
Right. Banks have written off, I think, 10 lakh crore during the last 5 financial years. But will this be a pain point of the larger financial system, though this is off their books technically?
Well, that way, frankly, all the write-off that has been done has put the Indian banking system on a very sound footing. The balance sheets are well capitalized, they are clean, and so the Indian banking system is ready to lend to the right set of people. I think even the entrepreneurs have learned the lesson that you cannot take the banking system for a ride, and if you do, there are consequences to it. So in that sense, I think the system is well prepared, but we also have to be cognizant of the fact that we cannot go back to the old days of, because we have to deliver credit growth, we just grow our asset size. If we make mistakes today, we'll pay for them 3-5 years down the line. So as bankers, it is very, very important that we keep asking ourselves the question that are we creating risks today which could lead to NPLs of tomorrow. But otherwise, I would say banking system is very, very well placed.
Right. One of the unintended consequences of the interest rate hike is that deposit rates are also going up. Is this going to be a big battleground, the increase in deposit rates?
Well, the credit growth is obviously ahead of deposit growth rates right now, and that ultimately needs to settle down. The deposit growth rates have to be slightly more than that of the credit growth rates. Right now, it's exactly the opposite. So because if the banks do want to grow, they are chasing deposits, which means that the deposit rates are rising and might continue to rise. It will at some stage might have impact on NIMs of some of the banks. Obviously, every bank's context, every bank's profile of deposits, every bank profile of business is different. So very difficult to make a generic statement on how it will play out. But yes, it is a balancing act as to how much you want to pay for deposits, at what price, and what you're able to lend it at in the market, and what kind of business you want to create from those deposits. Those questions are being, I think, asked by every bank in their own way.
Do you believe IDBI will set a precedent when it comes to privatization of PSPs in India?
Well, the government is trying to. I think they've got, what I hear is that they've got enough bidders in the system. And so hopefully this process will culminate in a solid buyer, and the government can, get this whole privatization process going.
How do you see the asset quality cycle panning out? So should we prepare for a fresh round of NPAs if growth does not see an uptick, especially from small and medium enterprises?
Well, my hope is that all of us have learned our lesson from the previous crisis and will not make the same mistakes again. But we still need to be cautious because sometimes when you chase asset growth, you can make mistakes. But I think the banking system has learned at a pretty steep price the kind of mistakes that should not be made.
Last couple of questions, sir. Fintechs. No, my last couple of questions. Your one big reform that you would like to see. We're just 2 weeks away from the budget. Any one big wish that you have?
Well, the government is not waiting for the budget to come out with big bang reforms. I think the government has been a very methodical basis, ensuring that whatever needs to be brought out in terms of changes or reforms is being done, is being thought through. So I'm not expecting the budget to bring in something unique. I'm sure the finance minister and the finance ministry gets tired of people coming up to them and asking for all kinds of concessions. And when you add up the concessions, I think there'll be no budget at all. So I'm just hoping that the government will continue on the path which it has set for itself, will continue to support capex growth in the country, and continue to ensure that at least the marginalized sections of society continue to get supported because the times are still tough. I think if the government continues to do that, that's the right thing for India.
Right. And when it comes to Axis Bank, do you have any plans for inorganic growth? Are there attractive small banks that you think are a good fit for Axis?
Well, we are going through a very big acquisition, Citibank, as we speak, and we need to absorb it before we start running off and doing other things. So right now the focus is on ensuring that we take over the city's assets, employees, customers, do it right, get the full benefit, and then maybe we'll keep obviously exploring inorganic opportunities.